Welcome to Cosmic Coffee on Awakening Airwaves. I'm Turtle, and I'm here to guide you through the archetypal weather of the skies. If you've ever caught yourself wondering why time feels weird, why that conversation hits so hard, or what the planets might be whispering this month, pull up a chair. The cosmos is speaking, and we are listening, one sip at a time. Good morning. Welcome back. I'm Turtle Angelo, and this is Awakening Airwaves. For today's episode of Cosmic Coffee, we're diving into the astrology of July. And let me tell you, this month is bringing some serious heat. We've got Venus rebelling, Neptune doing the moonwalk, Saturn putting on the brakes, and Uranus is changing the conversation as it moves into Gemini for the first time since World War II. Yeah, it's a lot. So grab your coffee, find a comfy seat, and let's unpack this shit. So let's start with July 4th, because Venus is basically throwing her own independence party. First, she's meeting up with Uranus in Taurus. And if you know anything about Uranus, you know this planet doesn't do anything halfway. With Venus, the planet of love, beauty, and what we value, colliding with Uranus, the cosmic rebel, well, expect the unexpected in your relationships and maybe even your bank account. This isn't your typical let's have dinner and watch Netflix kind of day. It's more like, I think I want an open relationship sort of energy. Maybe even I'm quitting my job to become a cryptocurrency trader or something like that. The thing about Venus-Uranus conjunctions is they often reveal what we really want versus what we think we should want. So you might suddenly feel that antique furniture collection you've been building isn't actually bringing you joy. And maybe you'd rather have the freedom to travel light. Or perhaps the relationship you thought was stable feels more like a comfortable prison. But here's the kicker. Just as Venus is shaking things up with Uranus, she's immediately packing her bags and moving into Gemini. So it's kind of like she's had this breakthrough moment and is saying, you know what? I need to talk about this, like with everyone right now. So Venus in Gemini is a whole different energy from Venus in Taurus. In Taurus, Venus wants security, sensual pleasure, things to last. But in Gemini, she's a little bit more of the social butterfly, a little bit more of the flirt, the one who values intellectual conversation over physical comfort. She wants variety, right? She wants conversation and the freedom to explore multiple options. So as we move further into July with Venus in Gemini, you can expect relationships to become more verbal, maybe less physical. You can expect a desire for variety in your social life, maybe even your romantic life, attraction to people who stimulate the mind, maybe financial decisions based on flexibility, and possibly even an urge to learn new things about love, art, and money. The thing is, Venus in Gemini isn't looking for the one. She's looking for interesting conversations. She's not really trying to build a nest, right? She's collecting experiences. This shift right after Uranus conjunction is like, okay, you've broken free from old patterns. Now go explore what's out there. So my guidance for you on July 4th is embrace the unexpected, have the conversations, stay flexible with money, and journal everything. Remember, this is just the opening act of July, so we're kind of setting the stage for bigger changes to come. And one of those big changes also happens to come on July 4th. While Venus is having her moment of liberation, Neptune will be stationing retrograde in Aries. Neptune has only been in Aries since March. So this is the first retrograde it's had in this kind of fired up sign. So let me try to paint a picture for you of what this means. Neptune is all about dreams, illusions, and spirituality. And Aries is action, leadership, and charging ahead. So when Neptune goes retrograde here, it's like someone turning on the lights at the rave, and you're frantically trying to shield your eyes from the light, and you can suddenly see what's really going on, and it might not be as magical as you thought it was. So have you been following some charismatic person or leader without questioning their motives? Have you been really fired up about a new spiritual practice that maybe you've ignored the red flags around? Now is the time to slow down and make sure your ideals are matching reality. This retrograde lasts until December this year, so we have plenty of time to sort through what's genuinely inspiring us versus what is just smoke and mirrors. All right. Now, Venus is really working overtime in early July. On the 6th, she's making these beautiful sextiles to both Saturn and Neptune in Aries. Kind of like saying, okay, I want change, but let's be smart about it. The Venus-Saturn sextile brings some much needed grounding to all this sort of revolutionary energy. Freedom is great, right? But we also want lasting change. So this aspect helps us make practical plans for our bold new visions. The Venus-Neptune sextile is where dreams meet opportunity. Maybe you've been fantasizing about a creative project or a more spiritually aligned relationship. This aspect opens doors. But remember, Neptune's retrograde, so keep one foot on the ground. Then on July 7th, Venus in Gemini is going to trine Pluto in Aquarius. Venus-Pluto aspects are always about transformation in love and values, but a trine makes this dynamic more magnetic than tensionful. When these two form a trine, we're talking about deep conversations that actually charge you. We're talking about meeting people who completely alter your perspective on relationships, discovering what you thought was just casual turns out to be something really soul deep and passionate. Maybe financial opportunities that come through your network or social connections, and the power of words to transform how you see love and beauty. This isn't the kind of obsessive, intense energy of Venus-Pluto square or opposition. It's more like, imagine you're at a party having light conversation, and suddenly you realize you're discussing the nature of reality with someone who sees the world in a completely different way. And instead of feeling threatened, you actually feel expanded. So with Venus in an air sign trining Pluto in another air sign, this transformation happens through ideas, communication, and social connections. You might find yourself drawn to radical thinkers, revolutionary artists, or groups that are changing the social paradigm. And the beautiful thing about the trine is that it's exciting rather than scary. Okay, so just as Venus is making this powerful aspect, we get the main event. On July 7th, Uranus enters Gemini. This is huge. The last time this happened was May of 1942, right in the middle of World War II. Most of us have never experienced this energy before. Uranus is the great awakener, the revolutionary, right? The disruptor. And Gemini rules communication, information, short distance travel, siblings, neighbors, and our immediate environment. So when you put them together, what do you get? Well, you can probably expect breakthroughs in how we communicate. So maybe AI gets even more integrated into daily conversation, media and journalism, probably more citizen reporting, less traditional news, education, learning might become more decentralized. Transportation, maybe flying cars. And we have cars that drive themselves now, right? So, and then finally, social ways to network and share ideas. Uranus and Gemini isn't about technology necessarily. It's about revolutionary ideas spreading like wildfire. The last time Uranus was in Gemini, we saw big shifts in how information was shared during wartime. Radio became crucial. Code breaking changed the course of history. This time around, we might see completely new forms of language emerge. Maybe we'll finally figure out how to communicate with AI in ways that benefit humanity. Or perhaps we'll discover that the way we've been sharing information has been holding us back. The shadow side, information overload, fake news could get even trickier to navigate. And with the Uranus involved, expect some communication systems to break down before new ones emerge. Okay, so just as we're adjusting to Uranus and Gemini, the full moon in Capricorn on July 10th jumps on the scene to say, okay, but what are you actually doing with all of these revolutionary ideas? Capricorn is about structure, achievement, and long-term goals. This full moon illuminates where we stand in our careers and public life. With all this change in the air, are we building something sustainable? Or are we just riding the waves of excitement without any real plan? This is a powerful time for professional culminations. Maybe that side hustle finally becomes your main gig. Maybe you realize your current career path isn't aligned with your evolving values. Whatever comes up, Capricorn demands that we get real about our ambitions. So those are the types of things that you will see culminating at that full moon in Capricorn. Speaking of getting real, Saturn stations retrograde on July 13th. Now, Saturn just entered Aries in May. So this is its first retrograde in the sign of the warrior. And Saturn in Aries is a little awkward. It's like putting a strict librarian in charge of a boxing gym, right? Saturn wants structure, patience, discipline. Aries wants action, independence, and immediate results. So when Saturn goes retrograde here, we're asked to reconsider how we're asserting our authority. Are we being too aggressive? Not aggressive enough? Have we been trying to force leadership roles that don't actually fit? This retrograde lasts until November 27th, giving us plenty of time to refine our approach to personal boundaries, leadership styles, how we initiate new projects, and our relationship with authority, both having it and dealing with it. And the good news, this retrograde can help us develop more mature form of courage, one that's not just about charging ahead, but about knowing when to act and like when to wait. All right. Because apparently the universe decided we needed more retrograde energy, Mercury is actually stationing retrograde on July 17th in Leo. I can hear the collective groan, but hear me out. Okay, so this one's actually kind of interesting. Mercury retrograde in Leo is like putting a spotlight on all our communication issues. So Leo rules creativity, performance, romance, and self-expression. When Mercury goes backward here, we find ourselves revisiting creative projects, having dramatic misunderstandings, which aren't always fun, but Leo doesn't do anything small. Reconnecting with former flames, maybe rethinking how we present ourselves to the world. The key with this retrograde is to avoid the Leo tendency toward pride. Yes, miscommunication will happen. Yes, technology might act up during your important presentation, but instead of roaring in frustration or whatever, use this time to refine your message. This retrograde lasts until about August 11th. And honestly, with all the Uranus and Gemini energy flying around, having Mercury retrograde might actually help us slow down and process all the new information coming our way. All right, moving forward to July 20th, Mars meets up with the South Node in Virgo. This is your cosmic yard sale moment. Time to clear out old patterns of anger, assertion, action that no longer serves us. The South Node represents our past, our comfort zone, what we need to release. And Mars is how we go after what we want, right? So in Virgo, this conjunction wants to know, are you fighting battles that don't matter anymore? Are you being overly critical? Is perfectionism preventing you from taking action? This is the time to let go of grudges, release the need to control every detail, stop criticizing yourself for past mistakes, find healthier ways to channel your drive. Remember, the South Node is about release. This isn't about suppressing Mars energy. It's more about redirecting it toward what actually matters. So the sun struts into Leo on July 22nd and immediately makes a sextile to Uranus in Gemini, saying, oh, you want to revolutionize communication? Let me show you how to do it with style. Leo season is about like authentic self-expression, right? Creativity, finding your inner light. But this year, with that immediate connection to Uranus, it's about expressing your uniqueness in like ways that spark change. So don't even think about dimming your light to make others comfortable right now. Uranus and Gemini is really shaking up how we communicate and how we connect. And the sun in Leo recommends that you do it boldly, you do it creatively, and you don't apologize for taking up space. The end of July brings some challenging aspects forcing us to integrate all these changes. So on July 23rd, we've got Venus in Gemini squaring Mars in Virgo. Relationships might feel tense as we navigate between wanting to keep things light and needing to kind of address the details more. This is like your desire for variety and intellectual stimulation running into your need for precise practical action. Then we get to July 24th, which is, wow. Yeah. So the sun in Leo is basically having meetings with every major player in the sky all in one day. Let me break this down because each one of these kind of tells a part of the larger story. First, we have the sun trining Saturn in Aries. This is actually really supportive. It's like, okay, you want to shine and be creative. Here's some structure to help you do it effectively. Sun Saturn trines are about sustainable confidence, leadership that lasts, and creative projects that actually get finished. With Sun in Aries, this is about pioneering something new, but doing it responsibly. Simultaneously, you've got the sun trining Neptune in Aries, which is, I think, 1 degree ahead of Saturn. So now this is interesting because Neptune just went retrograde, right? Earlier this month. So we're working with more of an introspective reality checking Neptune. This Sun-Neptune trine brings inspiration, spiritual insight, and creative flow. But because Neptune's retrograde, these inspirations are going to be more grounded in truth than usual. It's like getting divine downloads that actually make practical sense. And here's where it gets really, really beautiful. With the sun trining both Saturn and Neptune in Aries, we're getting this perfect blend of structure and spirit, discipline and dreams. So this is like a bridge between what's practical and what's possible. This is fantastic energy for turning creative visions into actionable plans, finding spiritual practices that actually fit your daily routine, leading with both inspiration and accountability, making your dreams real without losing their magic, right? But then the sun's going to oppose Pluto in Aquarius. Oppositions create tension. So Sun-Pluto oppositions are about power struggles, either with others or within ourselves. The sun in Leo wants to shine, to be seen, to express its unique creative power. Pluto in Aquarius is about collective transformation, dismantling old power structures and revolutionary change that serves the greater group rather than the individual. This opposition asks, are you using your power to serve yourself or the collective good? Is your need for recognition getting in the way of necessary change? Are you resisting transformation because it threatens your ego? So here's the thing about July 24th. It's like a test, right? Those trines to Saturn and Neptune give you the tools and the inspiration to create something meaningful, but the Pluto opposition is asking you to check your motivations. Are you building for glory or for genuine impact? So this is a day when you might have a brilliant creative breakthrough, but need to share credit with others, receive recognition for your work, but realize it needs to evolve to serve a larger purpose. You might feel pulled between personal ambition and collective needs. And you could even experience a power struggle that ultimately leads to transformation. So this is a day to ask yourself, how will you use your voice, your creativity, your leadership in service of the changes we all need? Okay. After all that intellectual Gemini energy, Venus entering Cancer on July 30th is like coming home after like a long trip. Venus in Cancer cares about emotional security, family, and creating a nurturing environment. So with all that revolutionary change happening this month, Venus in Cancer is reminding us what truly makes you feel safe. Who is your chosen family? How can you nurture yourself and others through these transitions? All right, well, we'll be closing out July with Mercury Cazimi, that special moment when retrograde Mercury sits right in the heart of the sun. This is a really sweet, beautiful moment of clarity in the middle of retrograde confusion. The sun illuminates Mercury's highest purpose. And in Leo, this might bring clear insights about your creative direction, understanding about how to authentically express yourself, maybe revelations about what truly brings you joy, and possibly even renewed confidence in your ideas. So it's a brief window, but it's a powerful one. So pay attention to any aha moments or sudden downloads of information. So how do we work with all this energy? Here's kind of like a July game plan. So as I said earlier in the episode, expect the unexpected, right? Especially in the first week. Venus conjunct Uranus plus Uranus entering Gemini means surprises are guaranteed. Question your dreams. Neptune retrograde asks us to get real about our ideals. Are you following genuine inspiration or just pretty illusions, right? Communicate boldly, but thoughtfully. Uranus and Gemini will revolutionize how we share ideas. But with Mercury retrograde in Leo, make sure you're being clear, not just dramatic. Release old patterns. That Mars South Node conjunction is perfect for letting go of outdated ways of asserting yourself. You could build something real, right? The Capricorn full moon and the Saturn retrograde both ask, what are you actually creating from all this change? Express yourself. Leo season is all about that. And with Uranus and Gemini supporting unique self-expression, don't hold back. I think finally, stay flexible. Like with all these retrogrades and sign changes, adaptability is going to be your superpower. So stay curious, be willing to change your mind, and express yourself boldly, but listen deeply. And remember, in times of great change, the most revolutionary act might be staying true to yourself while remaining open to growth. Don't forget to use the comments below to tell me how this month's astrology is manifesting for you. I love to hear your stories. Thanks for joining me today. And until next time, keep looking up. Bye for now.